Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dream Big Today, and it's the Noon Nuggets. And my name is Debbie, and thank you for joining me. And I hope your half day so far has gone great. And you know what? When we talk a little bit about the word today, I'm praying that gets you through the rest of your day. And so it doesn't hurt to have a word of encouragement to just help you out through your lunch break to get on through the rest of the day, because I know from the days that I had an actual job before I retired, there was some difficult days, and I did need to get on into the afternoon with some words of encouragement. And so Elizabeth was great this morning, and I always enjoy hearing her talk about what she got out of today's word. Now, I am going to go into Psalms 40, 1 through 10. I'm thinking, man, if we just prayed the Psalms every day, how would that change? Or maybe, we're reading it every day. What if we also included that as part of our prayer? And so we get into Psalms 41, and this is David in his prayer, and talking about waiting. How good are you at doing that? And this says, I waited patiently for the Lord to help me. Now, the fun thing comes from the Passion Translation. And in the Passion Translation, this says, I waited and waited and waited some more, patiently knowing God would come through for me. Then at last, he bent down and listened to my cry. So the key to all of that, in my opinion, is the patiently, because God's promises are always yes, no, or not yet. And so if he says no, he's got something else in mind. I ask him for stuff all the time, but do I always know what I really need? It's like whenever my little ones, my grandchildren, would come to me and want a cookie right before noon, right before dinner time, or whenever. Well, should I grant that wish just because they want a cookie before they're getting ready to eat? It's just like, God knows when to give us our treats and when to give us our full-blown meat, vegetables, and our rounded out meal. And so David is starting out in this, and he's actually doing an expression of praise of the Lord's past deliverance. And so let's think about that. What if before we went to him with our needs, that we started out with a praise for what he's done in our life to this point? What if we gave thanks before we prayed for our needs? And I thought, well, you know what? Do I do that? Not always, because sometimes we come to him with just like, oh man, this is a popcorn prayer, and I got to hurry and do this so I can hurry and go get back to work, or I can hurry and fix lunch, or I can hurry. We think we are in such a hurry. Well, let's look at this. Because it says, I waited patiently. And so in another version, it talks about waiting, I waited. And this is talking about confident trust. So I waited patiently for the Lord to help me, and he turned to me and heard my cry. And we're going to see 4 things here. First, he lifted me out of the pit. He lifted me out of depression. He lifted me out of addiction. He lifted me out of the drama, the trauma, whatever is going on in your world. He lifted me out of that despair. Secondly, it was, then it goes on to say, he set my feet on solid ground. Secondly, he sets my feet. He steadies me. He's there to say, I've got you. He steadied me as I walked. He gave me peace of mind. He said, don't worry about tomorrow. We're not there yet, Debbie. We're only in this day. Love lifted me. Yes, Rita. Makes me think of that song. And then the fourth thing, he has given me a new song to sing. See, we start singing the old thing over and over and over. What do you do? What are you repeating over and over and over that is just like empty words? Do you need to stop and rethink what you're thinking? Many will see what he has done and be amazed. They will put their trust in the Lord. And then, oh, the joys who trust in the Lord, who have no confidence in the proud or in those who worship idols. Hey, what are you worshiping? What have you got around you? Maybe it's time to rethink that. Verse 5. O Lord, my God, you have performed many wonders for us. Your plans are too numerous to list. You have no equal. If I tried to recite all your wonderful deeds, I would never come to the end of them. So today, whenever you're getting into your thankful journal, can you start listing everything that he's done for you today? Well, there's going to be a lot. Your page will be full. You'll go into the next page and next thing. Maybe you can write just real tiny so you can get it all squeezed in. But you know what? When you start identifying and recognizing every time that he does something and that is to your benefit, you're going to start giving thanks. You're going to think, oh, wow, that was awesome. Look what he did. Try to recite everything. I'm thinking, first of all, we need to just say thank you for helping me breathe while I was sleeping last night. Because see, I had nothing to do with that. I didn't have anything at all to do with my blood pumping through my body last night. He did all of that. He did all of that. He made sure that blood pumped from my heart to my brain, to my fingertips, to my tips of my toes, all through my body. I had nothing to do with that. That's what we learn when we know that, God is so much bigger than us. Verse 6 says, you take no delight in sacrifices or offerings. Oh, I've got a good one to read on that, a reference. Sacrifice, I'm going to read it again, but in the NIV. Sacrifice and offering you did not desire, but my ears you have pierced. Burnt offerings and sin offerings you did not require. So now we're going to jump over to 1 Samuel 15:22. And it says, does the Lord delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as much as obeying the voice of the Lord? To obey is better than sacrifice. To heed is better than the fat of rams. So was Samuel saying that sacrifice is unimportant? No, he was urging for Saul to look at his reason for making sacrifice rather than the sacrifice itself. A sacrifice was a ritual transaction between God and man that physically demonstrated a relationship between them. So check out your heart. Check out your heart. What's it saying? So we have rituals. We go to church. We take communion. We pay tithing. We pay our tithes. And you know what? Those are all empty activities if it's not from your heart. Elizabeth talks a lot of times about giving to the ministry. You only give if God tells you to give. You give what he tells you to give. Don't negotiate with God. Just if he's telling you to give, give. And don't block your blessings. Okay, and so then in verse 8, I take joy in doing your will. My God, for your instructions are written on my heart. Have you memorized any verses today, yesterday, last week? Can you pull up some verses from memory when you were in Vacation Bible School? Maybe you were of my age where there was the flannel graph on the wall and you could see, all the Bible characters put on that and you could rearrange them and you had Noah's Ark and the animals and stuff. Do you remember any of those verses from that time? I desire to do your will. Oh my God. Jesus portrayed this attitude of obeying and serving God in John 4:34 and 5:30. He came as the prophets foretold, proclaiming the good news of God's righteousness and forgiveness of sins. And then verse 9, I have told all of your people about your justice. I have not been afraid to speak out, as you, O Lord, will know. Psalms 22:25 says, for you comes the theme of my praise in the great assembly. Before those who fear you, I fulfill my vows. Are we afraid to speak up whenever the truth needs to be known? And I say that speak in a loving way. You know, too often we remain silent when something is going on. But as Christians, this is telling us to be bold and speak the truth, but have the right heart when you do it. Always speak in love. And in verse 10, it says, I have not kept the good news of your justice hidden in my heart. I have talked about your faithfulness and saving power. I have told everyone in the great assembly of your unfailing love and faithfulness. So this is something that we need to do whatever God's doing in your life, and he's working. I mean, this is plan A. There's no plan B, because no matter what turn you take in your life's journey, you're going that direction just to fulfill everything that he's wanting you to learn before you get to your mission, and you're in a mission all the way. But God's faithfulness is perfect. His love is absolute. His promises are irrevocable. He loves us even when we sin. We break our promises to him most of the time, but he never breaks his promises to us. His unfailing love. Do you have unfailing love today? You know, it's easy to love the lovable. It's not easy to love the unlovable, but that's what he's calling us to do. We're supposed to shine his light with everybody that we see. And so as you finish out the rest of your day, whatever you're doing today, whether it is going back to work in whatever that is, or if you're just enjoying the afternoon, find somebody to reach out to and just speak life into. Show them what unfailing love looks like. That would be a great pick me up for the rest of the day. So friends, this is all I have in New Nuggets today. I am so glad that you joined me, and we'll be back tomorrow. You have a great rest of the afternoon. And Tracy, I'm so glad you joined. Bye-bye, y'all. Love ya.